I'm in Ruben Halevi's place to try and help him set up. That's why I'm not there right now.
Okay.
I think I just got it set up. I hope something's getting in my way here.
It sounds good. If here it sounds good. So
Yeah, I see it now. I just got something on the screen. I tried to get it out of here. It's getting bothering me. In the very middle. Oh, there we are. All right, so it's on. Okay, so he's on Baruch Hashem. That'll be over soon.
So we're on Daf Samach Tesam with Beis, Bottom Mishnah. Mashlish Mos Levito. Mashlish means you give it into a third party, like a fund. You tell somebody instructions what to do with the money for his daughter. Rashi gives examples that he wants that this shalish should buy a field or the dunya, the taltalim, no difference, something for his daughter. And she says, I trust my husband. It means you can give it to the husband. It seems that the father died. That's what it seems in the Gemara, that the father died. That's going to be the subject. The father died. And now the shalish has the money that he's supposed to invest, whatever, buy something, and give it to the daughter. And the daughter says, give it to my husband. So do you do what? Do you do as instructed, or does the daughter have the authority to be able to change what the father had said? So machlokes. Yaseh shalish mashlosh shash b'yod the dibra meir. Meir says that he should follow the instructions. He shouldn't listen to the daughter. That if he's supposed to buy something, he should buy it for the daughter, and not just to give the money to the husband as the daughter requests. Is it any different than a field? Because what was his instruction? That he should buy something, a field, whatever. She gives an example of buying a field. So if he would have done as instructed, and he bought her a field. So now that she wants to sell it, she'll be able to sell it also. So it's as if it's sold already now. If she wants, since the whole instruction was to give it to the daughter, and she wants to change the instructions, don't give it to me, give it to my husband. Even if you would give it to her, she'd be able to give it over to the husband also. So that's not a reason why you should have to listen to the instructions. She has authority because eventually she's going to get it anyway. So she has the authority to be able to change from the instructions. The Mishnah is off. This is all talking about that the daughter is already an adult, 12 years old. But if she'd be a ktana, so then whatever she says is nothing. And the chora, the Pashut Pshat in the Mishnah would read that Rebbe is talking. But Meir said you don't listen to her anyway. But even according to Rebbe, you do listen to her. You only listen to her if she's already an adult. But if she's a minor, you don't listen to her. Probably the Pashut Pshat is because she has no das, and therefore, also she wouldn't be the whole thing. He said that even if you would give it to her, she could sell it, but she wouldn't be able to sell it either. So that's what Machlok is in the Mishnah. Okay, the title was Mashlish Mos Levito. Rebbe says do as instructed, even though the daughter says differently. Rebbe says no, she should be able to eventually change it when she does get it, so she can change it now also. Yeah, sure, that was good for you. So it doesn't say in the Mishnah what the Machlokes is all about. What is Machlokes? The truth is that Rebbe says that she has the authority eventually to do anyway. So why not listen to her right away? The Mishnah doesn't say. We'll get to the bottom of the page. We'll find out. Or the next page, we'll find out why Rebbe Meir holds to listen to the instructions. Tanu Rabbana. Samach Testament base, 69. Machlokes says if a father gives to a shalish, a third party, to do something for his daughter, she's getting married and she's an arusa, it seems, and he tells the shalish what to do with, gives him money and buy this for my daughter, a field or a dunya, whatever it is, and the daughter and the father died. It doesn't say openly, but it seems like the father died. And now the daughter tells the shalish, give it to my husband. He's trustworthy. He'll do whatever he's instructed to do. Now he's supposed to buy a field with this money for me and eat the payment, so he'll do that. He's not going to take it for himself. I trust him. So Rebbe Meir says, in this case, still do what the instructions were. The shalish should do as instructed. And Rebbe says, no, that since if you give it to her, she'll also be able to sell it and give it eventually to the husband. So she has the authority to do it now also. Which basically seems to make sense.
She's married. She's a married girl who's over,
so we're talking about
over 12 and a half.
12.
Over 12.
The mitzvah mamur b'gdola, but if she'd be a ktana, then her it's nothing. And we're talking about that in Arusa. We're talking the Gemara now. There's a difference between Arusa and an Asur. Tanu Rabbanan. There's a brisa of the same effect. It's going to say more or less the same as the Mishnah, but it'll have some extra information. Tanu Rabbanan. A little different than the Mishnah's case. I think it's only the scenario. It's not really a different essence. He gave money to the son-in-law. He trusts the son-in-law. He gave money to the son-in-law. That's what it seems to say. I don't know why the Bryce has to give such a case that he gave it to the son-in-law. The point is a shalish, third party. It happens to be that he trusts the son-in-law. So he gave money to the son-in-law and said, buy a field for my daughter. It's going to be my daughter's field. You'll be able to eat payros like any kind of field that my daughter has. But he gave the money to the son-in-law to buy a field for his daughter. And she says, give it as a present. It seems again that he died, the father died. And the daughter says, I want it to be given to my husband as a present. There's a little different scenario than the Mishnah. The Mishnah is talking about if you gave it to a third party. And the question is that she says, I trust him, will do as instructed. Here it's a little different. Here, the chassan happens to be himself, the shalish, and she doesn't say he'll do as he's trusted. She says, I want to give it as a present. He was supposed to buy a field for me. I want to give it, I want he should take the money and buy for whatever he wants. That sounds like a very nice marriage. Everyone wants to do what the other one wants. So the Brisa says, here, the Rameh says a little bit more information than he said in the Mishnah. The Mishnah just said that the shalish should do what he was instructed. And here he adds on that if she's already in the suin, so then you do listen to her. That the Mishnah didn't talk about. Here it says that even Rav Meir agrees that when on the suin, she has the authority to do. We'll go through the Gemara, then maybe we can talk about it. Rabbi Yossi Omer, if she's an adult, then even Erison also. Ketana, but if she's a ketana, then even if it's in a suah, also you do what if she's a ketana, then you do what as was instructed. That's the end of the brisa. So the brisa brought in the issue of a nesua, which the Mishnah didn't talk about, and it says here that by nesua, Rabbi holds that the nesua is the factor. Erison is not. It's only Erison. You listen to you do the shalosh as instructed. If it's nesua, then she has the authority over it. And Rabbi Yossi says that the factor is Gedola or Ketana. If she's a Gedola, you listen to her, even in Erison. If she's a Ketana, you don't listen to her, even if it's in a Surah. So if you take the Brisa at face value, you might say that the Atum Machlokasin, that according to Rabbi Meir, the only factor is Nisuin. According to Rabbi Yossi, the only factor is Gedola. If so, it comes out two nafkaminas, that Rabbi Meir will hold that an Nesua has authority even if she's a Ketana, if you take it all the way to its end. Not Rabbi Yossi will say that Arusa has authority if she's a Gedola. That truly is a machlokes. Rabbi Meir says that Beiman Eris and Beiman on Nesuin. Yes, how does it go? Beiman on Nesuin, which is beyond Eris, and Yas Shalosh Mashal is beyond even by Ketana. So Rabbi even by Gedola. So Yesholi is a machlokes about Eris and Gedola. But the question is Rabbi Meir also arguing on a Nesua Ketana? Means if you take the price at face value, Rabbi Meir says one factor, everything depends, one criteria. Everything depends if it's Nesuin or Erison. If it's Erison, you don't listen to her. If it's Nesuin, you listen to her. You might get the impression, even if she's a Ketana. Rabbi Yossi says that the criteria is going to be if she's a Gedola. A Gedola, you listen to her. Ketana, you don't listen to her. So the Gemara is going to talk about this. Is it true that the Meir holds that you listen to her if she's a Ketana and Nesua? That's going to be in about 15 lines. And we would say simple, a Ketana is nothing. But the Gemara is not so convinced. Maybe a Nesua Ketana, you do listen to her. My Benayu, what are they arguing about? The Gemara says maybe Ketana Nesuin. Maybe you'll say that they're arguing about Ketana, but she's already married, and according to Rabbi Meir, you do listen to what she says. What's going to happen to Rabbi Meir? That maybe Rabbi Meir says that you do listen to her. She's in a Nesua, you listen to her even though she's a Ketana, and Rabbi Meir says no, even though she's in a Nesua, only if she's a Gedola, but if she's a Ketana now. So Gemara is entertaining the possibility that Rabbi Meir says you listen to her if she's a Nesua, even though she's a minor. But the Gemara says you can't say that. The Gemara is going to prove from the Mishnah that Rabbi Meir agrees that a Ketana is nothing. You don't listen to the Ketana. And it jumps to our Mishnah. Ema Seifa. Ema Seifa, the third wide line, Ema Seifa means the Seifa of our Mishnah. Even though it doesn't say so, Rashi points out that the Gemara means the Seifa of our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, it didn't say anything about a Nesua. It didn't talk about it. And the Brisa adds on that Rabbi Meir agrees by a Nesua, you do listen to her. But in our Mishnah, it didn't say anything about a Nesua, and it says Rabbi Meir says you don't listen to her, and Rabbi Yossi says that you do listen to her, and the Mishnah ended off but a Ketana you don't listen to her, and the Pashas we would have thought it's going in Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi is talking, even though I say that you listen to her, but if she's a Ketana you don't listen to her. Very simple. But the Gemara is going to say it's so simple that we know it already from the ratio also, and it couldn't be that these words of Ahmed of Amurim is Rabbi Yossi talking. Third wide line, Amos Sefer. It says in the Mishnah These words, they say of the Mishnah, those are the last words, that a Ketana, whatever she does is nothing, so it seems you don't listen to her. Who's talking? Who's the author of these words? Elam Rav Yossi, which is the regular way we would have learned the Mishnah. We would have figured it out from the Reisha already that you don't listen to her according to Rav Yossi. Rav Yossi, that's the words of the Mishnah. Rav Yossi said that even if it would have been a field that the Shalish would have done what he was supposed to do, and now you gave it to her, she also could sell it. So why can't she sell it now already? So the Gemara says that alone, we would have been able to figure it out that it's only if she's a Gedola, because a Ketana doesn't have the power to sell. That we know. You don't need our Mishnah to tell us that a Ketana cannot sell. Gedola the Basvini in, Ketana the Basvini he low. Only a Gedola who has the power to sell over there, Yossi will say that therefore she has authority over it, even if she didn't get it yet. But a Ketana who cannot sell it, so the whole svara of Rabbi Yossi doesn't make sense. Rabbi Yossi said that since if she would give it to her, she'd be able to sell it, so she has authority right now also. But a Ketana doesn't have authority to sell it. When she's going to get it, she doesn't have authority to sell. A Ketana cannot sell anything. So then the svara of Rabbi Yossi wouldn't make sense. And he surely is not talking about a Ketana. So the next words in the Mishnah, is not necessary for Rabbi Yossi to say. He wouldn't have to speak out. We know, he just said the only reason why I give her authority is because she can sell it. And we know that a Ketana cannot sell. So these words, the Gemara says, must not be going on Rabbi Yossi. It's too simple. It was already said by Rabbi Yossi. Ella, so the Gemara is going to make a fancy pshat that the last was going back in Rabbi Meir. Ella, Rav Meir here. It must be Rav Meir is talking, and that doesn't make sense yet because Rav Meir said you don't listen to her. So there's no reason to say Ketana you don't listen. You don't listen to Gedola either. It must be sticking to the Mishnah what the Brisa said. Some words are missing. Those words it says in the Mishnah that Rav Meir says that Shalosh should do as instructed, but stick in that sometimes you do listen to her. That's what the Brisa said, that Rav Meir agrees that once it's Nesuin, you do listen to her. And this, Rav Meir says, only if she's a Gedola. If she's a Ketana, so then you don't listen to her, even if she's a Nesua. So what did the Gemara do with all these 10 lines, from the first white line until here? To prove that Rav Meir surely also agrees that if she's a Ketana, you don't listen to her. So there's no machlokis. There's no machlokis, even though the Brisa, he might have said according to Rav Meir, the only criteria is if she's in a Nesua or not. No, he didn't mean that. She has to be in a Nesua and a Gedola. So what are they arguing about? They're arguing about a Arusa Gedola. Ella Gedola min Eris and Nikabonai. That's the machlokis, that according to Rav Meir, the Arusa you don't listen to, even though she's a Gedola. And according to Rav Yossi, I don't care about Eris and Nesua as long as she's a Gedola. But of course, she has to be if she's a Ketana, you don't listen to her even if she's a Gedola. If she's a Gedola, yes.
What did she ask? What are we listening to her?
She says, give it to my husband, he's fine. The father gave instructions to a third party what to do with it. What do you call that? An executor or something like that. He made a fund and he told her what to execute. And the wife said, the girl says, my husband is fine, give it to him. I don't need that. Either he's trusted to do what he's told to do, what the Shalosh is going to do, he's also going to do. Or as the Brisa says, even if she wants to change it and she wants to give it to him as a present, she also has the right to do it. So that's the question. That's the issue of the Mishnah. So Rav Meir says, so after the Gemara with the Mishnah with the Brisa together, Rav Meir says if she's in a Suah, then you do listen to her. But if she's in a Suah Gedola, everyone says if she's a Ketana, you don't listen to her. That's how the Gemara comes out. If she's a Ketana, you don't listen to her. Rav Meir, Rav Yossi goes because he says only because she could sell it. And Rav Meir himself who says that on a Suah you do listen to, but if it's only a Gedola, not a Ketana. So just to make it easy, a Ketana you don't listen to. The question is, Gedola, do you listen to? So Gedola Nesua, everybody says you do listen to. And Machlokes says Gedola Arusa, according to Rabbi Yossi, you listen to her, and according to Rabbi Meir, not. What do you pass him like? Itmar, Rav Yudah Amar Shmuel Alachak Rav Yossi, Rav Nachman Alachak Rav Meir. Machlokes you pass him like Shmuel passes like Rav Yossi, that you do listen to her. Gedola and Arusa, you listen to her, and she could change the instructions of the father. And Rav Nachman, who really is a Talmud of Shmuel, but here he argues. And he says that Alachak Rav Meir, that you don't listen to her by Gedola Mina Erisin. That was the machlokes just now. Shmuel and Rav Nachman. In the side here, it says here, the number says Alachak Rav Meir. The post can say because Alachak Rav Nachman Bedini. And there's going to be another reason soon. We're going to see that Allah is like Rav Meir over here, not like Rav Yossi, that you don't listen to her. You do what the father said. And we don't know yet why.
Only because it's only a ruse.
If she's in a Suah, then everybody agrees that you do listen. Now, why is that? We don't really know yet. I don't even know the difference between a Arusa and a Suah. The father didn't trust the son-in-law, or he didn't want to give it as a present. He wanted certain thing. And now we're saying by Nesua, you do listen to her against the instructions of the father. What's the difference of Arusa and Nesua? If he doesn't trust him, he doesn't trust him. We have
Excuse me, when this goes to, when she's in the suing, is it like, would it be coming into the marriage with
yes, and she has,
her own property?
she has
then?
property, right? And now the husband gets payrolls, then she gets, and the principal belongs to her. The
If
field
she
belongs
gives
to her.
it to him, then it means that it's not. her
Yeah, right.
property.
She wants to give him a present. If she wants to give him a present, she can give him a present. If she gives the present, surely. If she gives a present, she has something and tells her husband, my dear husband, I'm giving you a present. It's yours.
I think it's to protect her because she
According to Rebbe
feel,
Meir, yeah.
According to anybody, but in the Sue, and she can give it away. By the Erison, if she's
According to Rebbe Meir,
according to a mayor by Gedola,
according to Rebbe Meir,
yes. If
she
she's in,
thinks that the father wants to protect her.
he gave her a field, and he says he gave it to a third party to take care of executing it. He didn't trust the son-in-law. He didn't give the money to the
I thought it
son-in-law.
was that he just wants to make sure that she has this, whatever you would call it.
Okay,
say-
let's say Malug, and the daughter says, I trust him, he'll buy me the next name Malug. That's the case of the Mishnah. I trust him, Neman Alai Bali. He'll do what he's instructed. Yeah, he's supposed to buy a field for me, he'll buy a field for me.
Oh, not that she's giving it to him.
Yes, I just pointed out that the Mishnah and the Brisa seem to have two different cases. The Mishnah's case is that Neman Alai Bali, I trust him. I trust him, doesn't mean I'm giving him a present. I trust him that he's going to do as he was instructed. Like Rashi says, Neman Alai Bali, whatever. Shalo Yakvim Latzmo, he's not going to keep it. To give it to him, and he'll buy me the sada. He'll buy me the field whenever I want. That's the case of the Mishnah. I'm just pointing out the Bryce's case is a little different. Over there, the present was the money was supposed to be given that Hassan. Over there, he did trust the son-in-law, but he said, I'm giving the money to buy a field for my daughter. And she says to the husband, I want to give it to you. Keep it. So here it talks about if you it means the Brisa and the Mishnah, the different cases, but both of them seem to be the same thing because she changed the instructions of the father. The father said that the shalish, the third party, should take care of it, and she says, my husband will take care of it. Or the father said, I want it to be a field for you, and she says, I want it to be given to my husband. So because she changed the instructions of the father, it seems there's no difference between the two scenarios. And Rav Meir says after the Brisa, Rav Meir says if she's already in a suah, then she does have the authority to change the instructions. And if she's only in Arusa, she does not. And Rabbi Yossi says even in Arusa also, since if it would be given to her, she'd be able to sell it and do whatever she wants to with it. So now also she has authority to change the instructions of the father. Right. Right. Right.
She has authority over it, so why does Rebbe Meir say that we don't listen?
Rav Meir says that we want to know why does Rav Meir say to listen to the shalish? Why is Rav Meir? So we didn't get to it yet. We still don't know. And we're going to get to it now. We don't have Shan Rav Meir. Why is Rav Meir saying that? Rav Meir seems to have a very good svara. If she would get it, she'd be able to do whatever she wants. So even if she didn't get it, she should have authority to do whatever she wants. It's earmarked for her, and when she's going to get it, she'll be able to do whatever she wants to with it. So why can't she do it now? Change the instructions of the father. The father died, and he told the instructions what should be done with it. Eventually, and she's supposed to get it, and she'll do whatever she wants to once she gets it. So why can't she do it already now?
Don't we know that Nisun is an upgrade, is a completion of marriage, and not so Rusin is a what's it called?
Well, what's the difference? What's the difference about all that?
I mean, because she's more mushlam with a person she's already done the sun.
How does that affect the question over here? That if there's a question about the monetary question that she was given a present that's going to be given to her, and she wants to change the direction of the present, whatever, either the executor of the present, or if it's going to be hers, or she wants to give it away, why can't she have authority to say what should be done? Like Rashi says.
Obligations on the bow when he's done the sun,
I'm not sure how that's affecting the issue. The issue is that she's getting something and she should have authority to do what she wants because she's getting it. It's coming to her. So why doesn't she have authority to do with it what she wants? We'll see the Gemara. Okay, we'll see the Gemara. The Gemara says, famous story. We had this in Tainus a long time ago. People might remember it. Famous story. There was a question over there about Ilfa Rabbi Yochanan.
Ilfa's a name.
Ilfa's a name, and he's very, very famous. He's not so famous, but he was the Chavrusa of Rabbi Yochanan. And that was a story where they were both poor and they went to they decided to make money to be able to support themselves. And on the way, Rabbi Yochanan heard a baskol that was telling him that he should go back. And Ilfa didn't hear a baskol. And Rabbi Yochanan went back, became Rabbi Yochanan, he became the Rosh Hashiva, and Ilfa, who was even a bigger Talmud Chacham, that's what the Gemara says over there, that he would have been Rosh Hashiva if he would have come back, but he didn't. He went to work over there and he didn't become the Rosh Hashiva. Maybe that was what he was supposed to do because they didn't have any money. And Rabbi Yochanan heard a baskol that wasn't his, he wasn't earmarked for that. Hashem destined him that he should become the Rosh Hashiva. But that was the story. Ilfa, huge Talmud Chacham. This is the end. This is the end of the story. This is right here brings the end of the story. Over there in Tainus 21, it says on the side, Tainus 20, over there's the whole story, and here's only the end of the story. So Ilfa, when he came back, he was told that he would have been Rosh Hashiva if he would have come. So Ilfa, instead of Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi
Yochanan wasn't the one to tell him. It was one of the
right. The people told him if you would have come back, we would have made you Rosh Hashiva. Ilfa told Nafshe Biskaria the Machlusa. Ilfa, he went up to the mast of the sail, means on a ship. He went on a ship, and there's a big mast. That's the big pole that the sails are tied to, and it's very tall. That's the point of it. It was tall mast of the ship. Iskaria is the mast, and Mechlusa is the sails. That's what Rashi says. I wouldn't know by myself. And he said, "Ikadasi damali milsa the bear of Chia the bear Boshia v'lo pashit nalei maslisin nefila maskaria v'tavana." If anybody's going to tell me a brisa that Reb Chia and Boshia say, Reb Chia and Boshia are the authors of the Tosefta. If anybody tells me it's any place in the Shas, any Tosefta, and I won't be able to show him that it's in the Mishnah, I know the source of every brisa in all the Mishnahs. So he was challenging anybody to bring a brisa that he wouldn't be able to find the source in the Mishnah. If someone's going to do that, I'm going to jump into the yam. Nefila me'askaria, if I'm going to fall myself from the mast and drown. Means he was saying that he knows the Kol Torah Kula. In other words, he was saying that even though I went to work, I know Kol Torah Kula. They didn't make him the Rosh Hashiva, but he was saying that I know the whole Torah.
This is after he was told that he would have been.
I think so. I think if you look over there. No. They shouldn't think that because I went and I worked, so I don't have my Torah. I have the whole Torah. And he said, ask me any question. So someone came to challenge him, ask him a question. This part I don't get. He said,
don't they say it's Eliyahu Hanavi?
I heard that maybe Tyson says so. So why is that?
He knew he's going to know the answer.
He knows he's going to know the answer.
It's
Okay.
like, he would know the answer.
He knew he would know
So-
the answer.
Right.
Eliyahu wanted to ask him a question that he knew the answer.
Because he wanted to make him feel good. He was so he asked him a tough question, but he knew he would know the answer.
And the reason why he brings it down is because the answer is going to be from our Mishnah. But he told him a brisa, and he said, where is the source of this brisa in the Mishnah? Asa Usaba, old man came, that might be Eliyahu Hanavi. He told him the following brisa. If a person, when he's dying, he left instructions that give a shekel. A shekel doesn't mean a shekel of today. Well, no, it doesn't a shekel today, but for a week's parnasa, give them a shekel per week. But really need to tell them seller. But really, a shekel is two zuz, two dinner, and really they need a seller. They need double. So do you listen to what he said, or do you estimate how much they need? Do you use your own estimate to know what they really need? Or he said a shekel, you only give a shekel. So it says, no lim seller. You do give them what they need because the father didn't mean exactly. He meant that he thought that a shekel is enough for them. But if you see that they need more, so give them more. But if he's very explicit, he says, don't give them only a shekel. That's very exact. He means to say, don't give them more. So then, only give them a shekel, even though they need more. You tell them, give them $50 a week, and they need 100. So if he said, give them 50 shekel, so then you do listen, give them 100 if they need. But if he said, only give them 50, it means that you see in his nuance of his words that he's dafka. Then even though you see they need more, you don't give them more. And if he gave yes, please. And if he said, the Brisa continues, and if the father said before he died, that if they eventually die, so then I want to tell you who the money should go to after them. He gives instructions of the money that's going to be left over after they die. He died. He left over an estate, and he says that the children should get an allowance of a shekel a week. And if they die, when they eventually die, so then the rest of the money should continue to go to somebody else. If he said that, then we have to be more careful that the words that the money stays. not to give money more money because it's already earmarked for other people to get it, whatever's left over. So Ben Shama Tnu, Ben Shama Al Titnu, ain't no Slam Hamala Shekel. No difference if he says give, which over there we thought we said before you could be asked them if they need more, you give them more. Even if he didn't say Al Titnu, he just said Tnu. He didn't say Al Titnu more. Don't go, only give. He said give, and we would have usually given them more if they need more. Also, we only give them what he said because it's going to be on somebody else's cheshbon. Whatever you're going to give them more, so then the next one online is going to get less. So then we always listen to what he said.
If he said give or he said don't.
Don't give means don't give only. It doesn't mean don't give, right? Just to read the Bryce before. It says one case is where he said, I'll try to.
Yeah, you can. I
One
see.
was
And the
Telu Shekel of Nibi Shabbos.
Al titnu lahem ela shekel.
Right,
Yeah. So
Al
it's-
titnu
don't
lahem
give
ela
except,
shekel.
Yeah.
right. So both of them give them or only give them. So in the beginning, when it doesn't affect anybody else, it's only them, how long they're going to be rationed, how long they'll be able to spread out the money. So if he just said give, so we understand he meant, I think that's how much they need, but if they need more, give them more.
That's for
If he said
sons.
only give them, so then you only give them. But in the case where somebody else is online, for all the leftovers, it's going to go to somebody else. So then even if he said the first lashon give, and usually we would give more, but if it's not somebody else's cheshbon now, because the next one is going to get less because if you give them more. So then
What's
only
the
give
next
them a
one?
shekel.
It
The next,
says Imesu, that
Imesu.
means they all died.
if
You
he
mean
said,
some other Yorshim. Who died? The sons.
if, yes, he says, then I'm giving you instructions who to give it to after they die. I'm giving you instructions who to give it to after they die. It doesn't go that I'm giving it to them and they're going to, and it's theirs, and then it goes with Hilchos Yerusha. I'm giving you instructions who to give it to.
Well, it says Imesu, I thought that meant they did die.
No, he said, if they die, this is part of his words. Not Im Amar.
If they die,
Im Amar. He says, if they die, eventually when they die, if they die, and there's still money left, it goes to the rest of their money goes to somebody else.
so who's other, what other?
Whoever he chooses, a second cousin, his neighbor, the rabbi, the milkman, whoever he wants to give it to. So he
You
said,
said that that's the Achirim, isn't it?
yes,
That's the Achirim, so you said it's gonna go on somebody's cheshbon.
that's their cheshbon. They're going to be losing. The milkman who's supposed to get the leftover after these children die, he's not going to get because he gave it to them too. He gave them too much. Simple case. He said, give my children,
Oh, give the exact amount.
give the exact amount, because if you're going to give more, you're going to be large. You're going to give them more. They should live comfortably because you think that they need a cellar a week. So you're taking it, or there's going to be less leftover. I'm not saying, if it sounds complicated, I'm not being clear.
Achirim sounds like multiple people.
What's the difference? One person, two people, 10 people, what's the difference? Whatever it is, he says, I'm
If it's
giving you,
one person,
he's going to lose out.
what's he gonna lose out if he gets more? Got more,
There's a person, there's a son, and then there's somebody else.
okay.
So he says, give my son $50 a week.
Yeah.
If if he dies and there's still money left, the rest of the money goes to the next door neighbor.
Let's say it's $100.
So it goes to the neighbor.
Okay, so
If it's
then you wanna
$1,000, it
give
goes
more.
$1,000 goes to the neighbor.
So how can you-
Now you're giving, instead of giving $50 a week, you're giving $100 a week. And then the son dies, and there's not so much money left. Instead of $1,000 left over, there's only $500 left over. So that person who was destined, earmarked, to get the leftover of this
If
sum,
he says, if my sons die, then it means he wanted something to go to the other people.
he says, if my son dies and there's leftover money, that leftover should go to so-and-so.
And then I see, and then when we say we only give what he
The son,
said, that's
right.
to the son.
Right.
Okay, I didn't understand.
We give to the son only what he said,
Only what he said, even though.
even though usually when he says, give my son $50, if we see he needs more, we give him more. But here we don't, because it's going to be on somebody else's husband, the person online.
Is that
And
the end of the?
Right, that's under the brisa. And he asked Ilfa, where's the source of this in the Mishnah? Amalei. So Ilfa answered, that old man, Amani Rabbi Meir, the author of this, the source of this halach is Rabbi Meir, that says it's a mitzvah to fulfill the words of the
Mitzvah.
mitzvah Kam Dibri Ames.
It's mitzvah, I guess.
I guess so. And it's
I
that's
mean,
not.
if you find a Chum made a mitzvah.
This is it. Rabbi Meir says.
No, did we find any other
The-
mitzvah that Shas, that the Chum made a new mitzvah?
Well, they're saying that it's the proper thing to do. They say that so even though the dead man doesn't have jurisdiction over his property that he had when he was alive, once he dies, he doesn't have jurisdiction anymore. But it's a mitzvah to fulfill what he wanted, the wishes, to fulfill the wishes of the mace. So where's this Rav Meir? Where's this Rav Meir? So this is our Mishnah. Now we found the secret. To go back to our Mishnah, that's what the Mishnah means. When the father over here, he gave instructions to the third party what to do with the money for his daughter, you listen to him. Even though Yossi says, why should you listen to him? The daughter has jurisdiction because eventually she's going to get it. She'll be able to do what she wants anyway. So listen to her now also. The answer is because the May said so. He said he wants something, you listen to what he said. So that's the source, that's Pshat the Mishnah. We wouldn't have known until now. We didn't know that what's Rameir's call. Where's he coming from? That's the answer. Our Mishnah Rameir means to say, mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis. So even though she might have the lumdus says that reason why not listen, why not do what she says? Because the father instructed so. So you listen to the father's instruction. And now we go back that everybody agrees once she's in a sewer, the father wanted that she should have it and do what she wanted. That's all the father meant to be, is that she should get it till the Nisuah. And after the Nisuah, he knows that she'll do what she wants, and he didn't mean any more instructions besides that. And Arusa Gedola is the machlokes if there's such a mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis. Rabbi Yossi holds there's no such mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis. Taisus points out that Rabbi Yossi holds there's no such mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis, and he even says that the whole lumdus Rabbi Yossi says, excuse me, let's get that wrong. That Taisus says that he didn't even have to say the whole pshat that she'll have authority to do it later on. Taisus says the Dvav Rameir come up, but he holds there's no mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis. So this is the Mishnah. This is the famous Mishnah. It doesn't use those words, but the concept of Rameir here is based on mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis.
The last 4 words on the page are still the Saba talking. That's the question.
Last 4 words is Ilfa answering.
Where's the question? Please show me where he asked the question.
The question was, this Brisa, he just said over a Brisa.
He said over Brisa.
That was the question, because Ilfa said, whoever has a Brisa and I can't find the source in a Mishnah, I'm going to jump.
Well, he said, I can't
So he
find the
said,
source.
no. So he said, I have a source. Again, so he says that the old man, he said over a Brisa, that's all you have to do. He says, show me any Brisa. Again, just outside. The Elfa said, anybody brings a Brisa that I can't show the source in the Mishnah, I'm going to jump. So he bought a Brisa. The Brisa is over by the word Ela Shekel. So now it's Ilfa's turn to talk. He has to find a source. Amalei. So Ilfa answered, I know the source. Amani Rab Meir. The source is Rab Meir. Rab Meir is the.
Where did Ilfa say that I don't know the source?
He didn't say. He says he does know the source. Again.
Where are the words that where Ilfa said, and if I don't know the source, I'll jump in.
Here, in the beginning. Ika, the Asi, the Amar Li Milsa, the Be'er B'chia Babosha, V'lo Peshitin Le Mimas Nisan, the Fiba, and I'm not going to
and I can't
show it from a
show it
Mishnah.
from a Mishnah. Okay, thank you.
So then I'm going to I'm going to fall from the mast and drown. So somebody came and said a Brisa. So he said, this Rabbi Meir, and it's a happy ending, so to speak.
Yeah.
That he found.
You didn't have to jump up.
He didn't jump. That's the end of the Gemara. So now we found the Gemara didn't tell us a word about this till now. We're supposed to have known that maybe that the Pshat in our Mishnah is Mitzvah L'kayim divrei hameis. I mean, passing like Rabbi Meir, we pass like this, and it's a chiddush that even though Rabbi Meir against Rabbi Yossi usually pass like Rabbi Yossi, here also Shmuel passes like Rabbi Yossi, but Rabbi Nachman passes like Rabbi Meir, and that's how we pass. Mitzvah L'kayim divrei hameis. It does. Yes.
This is our Mishnah, right?
Right.
So isn't it Mishnah? Why is Rav Gan saying that this is a mitzvah to Rabbanan? It's in the Mishnah. In other words, every Mishnah.
Is it a Daraisa?
Mishnahs are also there.
I don't know what Mishnahs are also do Rabbanan.
Sure.
They're very,
Where all the Rabbanan is going to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. It could be a Daraisa also. The Mishnah is explaining the Daraisa. The Mishnah is explaining the Rabbanan. This mitzvah, does this mean that's a mitzvah Daraisa that we're understanding that's what the Torah understands? Or we just got it from our Sforah? Or that we say, no, but the Daraisa you don't have to, but with Rabbanan you should. And I think that this mitzvah doesn't mean that it automatically goes. I don't know if we're going to force this mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. I don't know if it means that we're going to enforce it after. It doesn't mean that monetarily it belongs to him. It doesn't belong. Once a person dies, he doesn't have any jurisdiction over his money. But it's a mitzvah to do his will.
Mishnahs are laws, but we don't always pass it like them.
That could be.
Huh?
That could be. Here's Machlokes, or Meir Rabbi Yossi,
Here's
two
Machlokes.
Mishnahs. So pass like Meir.
Okay.
And that Brisa Rabbi Chia that spoke about giving a shekel. Who's he to say to give a shekel? What's the difference? They got a Yerusha. Who's he to say how to ration it out to the kids?
Uh-huh.
So it says Rabbi Meir is the source of that Mishnah. Brisa, since Rabbi Meir says he's supposed to do what the Meir said, even though he doesn't own it anymore, it's not his money. He left his wishes. So a mitzvah to do his wishes. So if he said,
give a shekel, that's like a symbolic idea that you did.
not symbolic, it's this thing.
What's the shekel?
That's what the father. That was the case. The father said, give them a shekel a week.
Shekel those days, but it was probably more than.
Yeah, it was enough support for a week.
1,000 shekel a week.
Whatever they needed for a week's support. And he made a mistake. It was not enough. They needed a little bit more. That's already details. But he said, give $50 a week. So who's here to say? The kids say, we answered it. What does it have to do with the father's instructions? Here you see that it's a mitzvah to listen to the father's instructions. He argues always, we said a second ago, that we do pass like a mayor. That's going to be the most kasha in a second. First of all, it says, Rav Chisda said in the name of Barukva, that you don't listen to the father's instructions about how much you give to his kids a week. You give them whatever they need. Even if he said, Al Titnu, even the extreme case, he said, only give them $50 a week. You don't listen, you give them whatever they need. But the kasha is, we pass like Rav Meir. We do pass like Rav Meir, Mr. Lakam Devri Ames. So he said, give them $50 a week. So why not listen to them? The answer is, we do agree to Rav Meir that you listen to the mace, but here we argue on this brisa that says that's how we estimate what the father meant. When the father said only give them $50 a week, what did he mean to say? Did he mean only give them $50 a week regardless if they need it or not? Or he meant to raise them, to make them, now what's the word raise? To make them alacritous, to make them move. Rashi says he wanted that even though there's a lot of money in the Yerusha, he didn't want them to use it and indulge. He wanted that they should work and they should live moderately. So therefore, that's all he meant to say. It means we do agree to the concept of Kam Devri Ames, but here there's a question: what did he really mean? If he meant only, Rav Meir says he meant only $50 a week, regardless if they need it or not. I have my cheshbonos. They should not have more money than that. But we argue on Rav Meir in this point and say that on this brisa that's not what he meant to say. So this is a side point. This point is an application. There's the application of Mr. Lakam Devri Mace. Of course, you have to understand what the mace meant. And here, the brisa said that the mace meant only give $50, only $50, even if they need more. And we say that he didn't mean that. He meant that they should live modestly, give them the minimum that they need, and let them work for more if they need more. I don't want them to be able I don't want them to become spenders. They should be thrifty. So give them the minimum. If we figure out that the minimum is more, so we'll give them more also, because we're not going against the words of the mace. So this is like a particular application. What did the mace mean? But everybody agrees. We paskin that Mr. Lakam Devri Mace. New subject. Tanan Hasam, a Mishnah in Gittin. Putos means young children, which Rashi says is about 7 or 8, 9, 10. Does Rashi say that? Putos, tinokos, ben 8 or 9 years old. Over there, I think it says if they're smart, so then even 6, 7. Depends how street smart they are. So they want to do business. Little kids, they have money and they're doing business. Does it take effect? Like the rice from Putos means
little smart kids.
It doesn't mean smart. It means small kids.
Little small kids.
Right, children. Poet. Nowadays also in Hebrew, poet means a small child. So their buying is a buying and their sale is a sale. Karka not. They can make a deal on karka, but they could make deals on metaltalum. B'Rabbanan. Tikkun Olam, that they should be able to make they buy and sell.
Kids come to the stores and buy candy.
Things like that, or they come to buy stationery. Yes, how about that? Come on, stationery. So it takes effect. It takes effect. But karka not. If they're going to start selling karka, wine karka doesn't take effect. Amraf would have to be older for that. Amraf, it's only if there's no guardian. But if there's a guardian, then they don't have the power to make a sale or to buy. This is talking about Yisomim problem, Yisomim that they inherited. So if there's no patropos, they could make sales. So they should be able to get money. But if there is an apotropos who's in charge, then they don't have any authority to make a sale.
That's from the
Metaltalum, right? And it brings a proof. And our Mishnah says, going back to the Mishnah, where it says that the Ketana is nothing. That this thing about making decisions, if she'd be able to sell, so the Mishnah said that it's only by Gedola, but by Ketana. Here's the words, the last words of the Mishnah, which the Gemara said it's not even a Yosef. Meir also agrees that even if she'd be able to sell and make decisions, only if she's 12 years old. If she's less, Ketana and Masik Ketana Klum. And he's bringing a proof. Why not? Why? Why? We just said a putos could make mekach mekach, memkon memkar. She could so. So why does the Mishnah say that a ketana cannot? The Mishnah in Gittin says that putos could make a deal. So how come our Mishnah says a ketana may not?
Because back to the prescription.
So it must be because of the apotropos. Since there's a shalosh over here, so it's like an apotropos. There's a kasha to ask over here. A shalosh is a third party. So someone might have said that there's a kasha to ask over here. Maybe the Mishnah is talking about karka. Maybe the reason why she can't make a deal is because it's karka. Karka putos cannot make a deal. But they say the Mishnah doesn't say karka. The Mishnah says to buy something. It says the example of a sada. But the beginning when it says Rashi in the Mishnah says that it could be in a dunya also. It doesn't have to be dafka karka. Here's Rashi. Most biat shalosh l'tzarach pito l'kno sada on the dunya, not dafka sada. It could be metatlam also. And the Mishnah says that if she's a ketana, you don't listen to her. So you see that a ketana cannot make business. Why not? Must be because there's somebody who's overseeing. There's a shalosh over here, so therefore you don't give her the authority to make deals. That's how the Gemara is deriving from the Mishnah.
But that's an adult. You see the shalosh. So therefore, we don't give permission to the child.
That's what the Gemara is saying. How do you see that this law is true that apotropos, if there's apotropos, you don't give the authority to the child? Because now Mishnah says Ein Ma'aseh Ketana Klum, that she doesn't have authority to make sales, even though it might be talking about the Talmud. So you see that because there's an apotropos. But the Gemara says it's not a right from our Mishnah. The Dilma Hechadika Shalashani. Maybe a shalosh is different than an apotropos. A shalosh means that he was instructed what to do with the money. That he has a job, he has instructions what to do. Apotropos means he's a general guardian. So you don't see from our Mishnah. What?
He's more like a shaliach.
Right, on a specific thing, what to do. So maybe that's different, but you don't have a right from here that an apotropos takes over and the child doesn't have authority to make sales. But the Gemara says no, it is mashma. The wording of the Mishnah is mashma because the ketana doesn't have any authority. If it would be only because there's a shalosh over here, then it should have said if there's a ketana, then the shalosh should do, because even though a ketana usually could do something, but a shalish takes over. Why did the Mishnah use such an extreme term that the katans can't do anything? Not because it's a shalish. That a katan doesn't have the authority to do something because somebody's in charge. Not because he's a shalish, because someone's a supervisor. So any kind of a guardian, if he takes over, so then the Yisomim should not make deals. The case, yes.
Im came listening, and then what's the quote here?
It's an imaginary quote that it doesn't say. It's a quote that it should have said. It should have said.
Oh, listening question mark?
No. It should have said. It should have said this. It doesn't say.
Yeah, I want to know what that quote is. What it should have said.
It should have said that if there's
then
the shalish should have done what he's supposed to do, what he was instructed. The Mishnah over here, when it says, here it says ketana ein ma'aseh ketana klum. Avol, this is the Mishnah. It says avol b'ktana ein ma'aseh ketana klum. It shouldn't have said that. It should have said avol b'ktana yaseh shalish ma'ashul shalish b'yoda. That's what it should have said. It shouldn't say ein ma'aseh ketana klum. It should have said avol b'ktana yaseh shalish ma'ashul shalish b'yoda. It should have said that since there's a shalish around, if she's a ketana and there's a shalish, should do what the shalish should do as instructed. Since it says by a ketana, she has no authority. That's like a general statement, not because of the particular shalish over here. Must be because any apotropos would be a reason why the ketana has no authority to make any deals.
The shalish should be making the deal for the katan.
Right.
But what does it help us in terms of, is it a raya for apotropos?
The Gemara is saying that it's a raya because if the mission only meant that a shalish, that it was made a shliach, an agent, to do a specific thing, that's why she would take away the authority from her. Not because apotropos stam, but because he's a particular shalish, and it should have said that. It should have said a b'ktana, the shalish is what he's supposed to do. Since it says ava b'ktana, she can't do anything, that's mashma, not because he's a shalish, just because there's a supervisor in general, any kind of a supervisor. So the Gemara thinks that it is a good raya, and that's the halacha, that if there's an apotropos, then the katanim, the prutos cannot make any deals. Before I spoke about the stationery store, I made a mistake. The Gemara is only talking about Yisomim. It's not talking about when the parent. You could assume that the parents are sending the kid with money, but there's so much Yisomim that they have the right to make the decisions of making a deal. So the halacha is that Yisomim do. If there's no apotropos, they do have the right to make deals once they're 7, 8 years old, 8, 9. And if there's apotropos, then they don't have the right to make their own deals. I'm not talking about stationery. It's talking about going to make a big deal. A big deal. Something big. A bicycle.
Remember, you never had a case where a parent came and said, I want
No, but sometimes parents send with a credit card, and the kid goes around like he's money grows on trees. And we call the parents and say, what is, your child wants to spend 200 shekel. So
Sometimes you have to take
I don't think it's a good chinuch, but okay. It's very, the kids don't learn what money means. That it's a problem.
It's magic.
Even us.
We didn't want to.
Credit cards like somebody else is paying for it.
We didn't want to get credit cards for that reason. We don't want to get the machine, but people come in, they have no cash. Nobody has cash anymore. Everyone has a credit card, so we can't do business with that. I don't think that's smart. Okay, people spend much more money than they would if they have cash.
Of course.
If they have, yeah.
And
A lot of
you're
marriages.
thinking it's like somebody else is paying for it.
Marriages.
I got my money in my pocket.
Mhm, mhm. Okay.
People are,
Creates lachas.
Hmm?
Money problems creates lachas. So
Yeah,
then it
yeah.
can feed
And then they
the
spend money that they don't
relationship.
spend money that they don't have. Okay. Hamadir is new parak. Hamadir, this is 7th parak, I think. Parak 7.
Eric 7.
Hamadir is Ishtam al Hanislo. We had mention of this Mishnah before. It says on the side. Does it say on the side? La'el Samachalaf. We had mentioned of this Mishnah already. Hamadir is Ishtam al Hanislo. If a person made a neder in a way that his wife cannot benefit from him.
This is the Mishnah? No, it's-
In the Mishnah, beginning of that, new Mishnah, new parak. Hamadir is Ishtam al Hanislo. So the Gemara is going to talk about how is it possible to make such a neder in a way that his wife shouldn't benefit from him if he's obligated to support her. So how could he stop her from benefiting? The Gemara is going to talk about that. But he made a neder in a way that his wife won't be able to get supported from him, and he has to support his wife. So it says, Ad lamed yom yamid. It's not big. That's the biggest I can make it.
For some reason, it just keeps turning, right?
Ad shloshim yom yamid parnas. If the neder was only for 30 days, that is limited neder, 30 days. So then yamid parnas. He can't actually give her the food because she's asked to benefit from him. But he should make somebody in charge who's going to be giving her food. It's not going to be coming from him. And whatever the case is going to be, the details that it shouldn't be considered that she's benefiting from him, that we could tolerate still. She could tolerate being supported through this parnas.
What does Yam
Till,
mean?
yeah, he should erect, he should establish. He's in charge, he's responsible to get somebody to support her. He tells his neighbor, please
That's
support
not
my wife.
called
That's not called that he's
giving
supporting.
her,
Right. She's not getting it from him. It's not that he's just giving the food. I think
set up.
he should set it up to a system that she should be able to get. We'll see the Gemara later. I didn't see it yet. Probably he's going to say that he can't give the food to the neighbor and say, give this to my wife. That means he's getting it from him. He tells the neighbor, do me a favor and support her.
Mhm.
So
When it
she
says
can tolerate that.
does it mean not manna?
Yes.
What is it?
That's the terminology. I also get confused in the Maseches Sodom. It always means that. That he made a neder that she shouldn't be able to benefit from him. So till 30 days, it's tolerable, and she should get somebody that should be able to support her. But yes, and we can, Yosef eating Ksuba. If it was for more than 30 days, so then even though a partner is available to support her, that's not good enough. And we don't know why. We understand without seeing the Gemara yet that probably that's not a marriage. That she says, you're not supporting me. It's going through a third party. She's not happy with that. We have to see the Gemara more. But that's what the Mishnah says, that 30 days is still tolerable, and he has to make sure that she gets food. But it's not grounds for divorce. But if it's more than that, more than 30 days, so then it's grounds for divorce. Then he should give her divorce, and she should go free.
We force him to give a divorce in favor of the ketubah.
That's what it seems to be.
Because she can't say, give me a divorce. Well, she
That
has
means
no
that
right to take
she has a right. This is so she has a
go to
right to
court and
demand.
make-
Right,
Force him to give the.
right. That's the also means he's supposed to divorce her. So Tosfos talks about if you actually force him or not. What?
We had other cases of 30 days. Is it the same agreement? Last couple of months.
We were talking about how much is tolerable. No tashmish.
No,
This is the case. This is the case. Over there was about 1 week or two, one Shabbos, two Shabbos, and this is the case about the Parnasa, which was 30 days. This is probably what you remember. Rabbi Yehuda, it depends. Yisrael Chodesh Echad, Yikayim Shnaim Yotzi, V'yitin Ksuba, but Kohen Shnaim Yikayim Shloshi Yotzi, V'yitin Ksuba. He agrees to the Tanakama, but that's only by Yisrael. By Kohen, who's going to divorce his wife, he can't take her back anymore. Kohen can't marry a Grusha, can't marry even his own Grusha. Once he divorces her, that's it, finished. So therefore, we give an extension and tell him to tolerate it for 2 months. If the neder was only for 2 months, so even though by regular Yisrael, that's grounds for divorce. And if they make up later on, so they could be married. But by a Kohen, they can't be married. So then we tell them to tolerate it, tell the woman to tolerate it for another month. And even if it was 2 months, still not a reason for divorce. only if it was more than 2 months.
What is the punctuation here? Rabbi Yehuda
If it was only for 1 month, which is 30 days, same as Tanakama, then I agree that for 1 month he still may. Right. Shnai means not two, it really means more than one. And that's what the posting say means more than one. It doesn't have to mean two. 30 days is a limit, same as Tanakama, and more than 30 days. So he means to say 31 days, but he says months. So he says 1 month, more than 1 month, which is called 2 months. But even anything more than 1 month is already grounds for divorce. The Kohen, then we extend it and say, if it only was 2 months, still not to, we don't force him to divorce. But if it was more than 2 months, so then that's, so he just adds on that by Kohen, we give it an extension also to make sure that they don't get divorced and mess it up. A new case. That was about not getting any kind of unknown. How about he made a nether in a way that the wife won't be able to eat a certain kind of a pre. One echad mikol peros, I think means one Rashi echad mikol peros. Konim pre ploni alai. It doesn't mean any peri. It means a certain kind, no kiwi. That a certain thing, apple, orange, doesn't mean any kind of pears. It means that he made a nether in a way that she's not going to be able to eat a certain fruit. So also that's already Yosef eating ksuba. All these things are problematic. It means we're not learning the Dharm right now, but there's no such thing as making somebody else to do something. You can't make somebody else to do something. You have to be involved. It has to be you. Either you can ask yourself to benefit something, or you can ask somebody else to benefit from you, from your property. But you can't just say, I asked you to do something. You're not about to buy somebody else. Yeah, whatever the case is, he's doing it in such a way that he has an ability to do it. But the problem is that he's messing up his wife, and in a way that maybe that's grounds for divorce. So here it says that if he asks her from eating any kind of a fruit, so Tanakama says that's the reason that we tell him to divorce her. And she's eligible for children, that she's demanding grounds for divorce.
It's illegal to do that, right?
Illegal meaning?
How can you force her? What you said, how can you force her not to take?
How could you do that? So I'll just give Rashi does say, Rashi gives an example where she made the neder and he affirmed it. He was able to make for it, he was able to nullify it, didn't nullify it. There's a lot of marital psychology over here. That the woman does something detrimental to herself, and the husband agrees. Then the wife says, why didn't you stop me? And he's expected to stop her. And the Gemara says other place, sometimes she just does it in order that he should stop her. Like prove that you care about me. I said I'm not going to eat any apples. And you said, okay. So, and if he said okay, she says that's grounds for divorce. He says, you said so, but you agreed. How did you agree? So you see that the sensitivity is supposed to be that she wants him to show that he loves her. Okay. But anyway, that's a detail of how the nether works. But the Mishnah doesn't go into that. It talks about if in a way he was able to answer her on eating a certain kind of a fruit, Yosef eating ksuba. Rabbi Omer, again, there's different, we're going to extend it for a Kohen. Rabbi Omer by Yisrael, Yom Echad Yikayim Shnayim Yosef eating ksuba. By Yisrael, even 1 day is already a grounds for divorce. But by a Kohen, 2 days. Uba Kohen, Shnayim Yikayim Shloshi Yosef eating ksuba. We're not going to make a get right away because maybe they're going to want to get married again. They're not going to be able to. So it's a last chance.
There's no months here. There's only days.
Not even months, even days.
Wow, I mean, it is very.
No, Tanakam Malta. Tanakam says right away, first day, maybe even 1 day. Tanakam doesn't say Yosef eating ksuba. Probably means one. That was we're in the second case already. You're in the first case. The first case was about no food, nothing, no hana. Not you can't benefit from me. That's a very general. Yeah, it's only right. So I don't over there. There was a case about going through a third party. Here, for some reason, it's not going to be through a third party. She's not going to be able to eat this kind of fruit, the apples. She can eat apples, any apples, not only his apples.
That's the ground.
That's what it says. Because you don't love me, I think. I think that's the point. There's something that's.
This is not as harmful as that. No.
Because over there, it is possible to get fruit through a third party. But here, she's not going to be able to. There's no way that she can get this pre.
There's only one fruit she can survive without it. Whereas the complete nahanoah
but over there,
everything, then for sure we got problems.
Over there, she's going to get food. Over there, there's no problem with getting food. She'll get the food.
Not through her husband.
Not through. And over here, she can't get. Yeah. But here she can't get this fruit at all.
One fruit out of millions or hundreds, whatever.
That's her
Okay.
favorite fruit, cherries.
Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, same thing, but he just says for a Kohen be extended a little bit. Third case. She shouldn't use a certain perfume or some kind of a jewelry, some kind of an adornment that she asked herself. Again, how did he accomplish to answer her? The Mishnah doesn't say, but he did it in a way that he could affect it. Like I say that she made the neder and he affirmed it. So again, let's see Kesuvos. You don't have Rabbi Yehuda over here. Probably Rabbi Yehuda argues over here also. I'm not sure, but Rabbi Yossi puts in a different factor. The factor is what bracket they are, what standard of living. There's anios and ashiros. So anios, they could tolerate not having a certain tachshit, a certain kishut for a long time. But if they are indefinitely, it's answered indefinitely, so then they can't tolerate it. But ashiros, 30 days.
Maybe he's nauseated by this particular perfume and he doesn't want to use it.
Mhm.
It makes him nauseated.
Mhm.
I don't know the answer
That's
to your
not the
question.
case, though.
I don't know the answer to your question, but like Yaakov says, that's not the case. I don't know.
Is enough.
I don't know the answer to your question. That's not the point. Is that he's depriving her. He's depriving her of a certain fruit, of a certain perfume.
In the same way, he doesn't have a right to cut everything off from.
There are 2 points to talk about. One is, does he have the ability to do it? I don't know. We said the word right. I don't know what you meant. If he has the ability to do it, the Mishnah told him he has the ability to do it. Or else nothing happened. He has the ability to do
That's
it.
the grounds for divorce. He does not have the right.
So I'm trying to take your word right and try to say what the right means. Does he have ability to do it? That's one question. Before, if he has no ability to do it, so then nothing happened. We tell the woman, go home, everything's fine. The case is that he had the ability to do it. He did it somehow. So the question is, now is the grounds for divorce. That's what the Mishnah is talking about. Again, all these 3 cases, if he made a neder in a way that she shouldn't be able to benefit, or in a way that she shouldn't be able to eat Paris, or he shouldn't be able to eat the, it has to be that it takes effect. If it wouldn't take effect, so Bezin says everything's fine, go home, do what you want. The case is that it does take effect. And if it takes effect, now we have to talk about is that a tolerable marriage. And the Mishnah says the limitation for each kind. The first one is 30 days being supported by somebody else. Second one is 1 day, 2 days. The third one is about, doesn't say a time, it says about, Rabbi Yossi says that if it's anios, only if it's indefinite, and by Shiva is 30 days. Okay, to stop here, even though we didn't finish complete of the bottom of the page, but it starts a new again. The question is going to be that how could it take effect? That is going to be how is he able to? Not if he's allowed to. How does it take
So
effect?
Rashi spilled the beans. So Rashi, so then we wouldn't worry.
Guys, the first Rashi says,
Want to go a little further?
"Eina nos tashmisha u'neser olav,
Okay.
dahamish badla, hilkach b'shvil tashmish ein lanu." No, Rashi says the Gemara is an estikasha. Rashi puts into the word "hano" that it means any kind of benefit. And Rashi is bothered that that also seems to include marital relations. I didn't talk about that. So Rashi says that he doesn't have the ability to answer her. So if he says that you can benefit from me, the enjoyment of marital relations does not take effect. But Rashi says the issue about the food, the Gemara is going to ask the kasha. So Rashi didn't take care of it. You have Rashi that says the Gemara is going to talk about it. And here's the Gemara. Let's see the kasha. Let's see the answer. Kasha for a few lines. How does it work? It doesn't take effect. Since he's obligated to support her, how could he say that she can't benefit from him? Does he have the power? The word kimine does sound like, does he have the ability, the nemanus? I don't know literally the word. Could it be from him? I'm not sure what the word literally means, that he could take off a shibud. And the Gemara even brings a proof that he cannot. For Tanan, we have this Mishnah quoted. The woman says to the husband, the opposite. The woman says to the husband, I'm answering my doings on your mouth. You shouldn't be able to benefit from my doings. And it's he doesn't have to nullify because he can't do it. It doesn't take effect because she's meshubah to him to do work, whatever she has to do. And therefore, if she made it usher on him, it doesn't take effect. You see, since she's obligated to him, she doesn't have the power to do that. She doesn't have the shibud. She doesn't have the ability to take away the shibud that she's meshubah to him. Here too, since he's obligated to her to feed her, so how could he take away that shibud and say that she should be usher? So till there's the kasha. And now we're up to the answer, and that will leave for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeshikor.
That's